I'm Baratunde Thurston, and this is In the Making, a new series from PolicyLink, not just about how we fix what's broken, but how we build what comes next. And that's what my guest and I are here to talk about today. When the Founding Fathers wrote, "We the people," they didn't mean everybody. But here's the thing. Those folks they left out, we've been making democracy real ever since. And even in the political chaos we're living through right now, this work continues. This nation, it's still in the making. We the people, we're in the making too. And the future we want, a real democracy where everyone has what they need to live a good life, that's in the making too. And a lot of us are asking, what even is this country? Is it for me? Is it game over? Is democracy dead? And part of me is like, yeah, it's pretty dead. It's pretty much dying. But another part of me thinks about the beautiful words and wisdom of Valerie Kaur, who offered that what we're in is not just the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb. That we're present, lucky enough to be present for a death and a birth. And so it's up to all of us to give birth to a nation that's worthy of all of us. That has animated so much of my work, and it's animated the work of my guests here with me today. Michael McAfee, CEO of PolicyLink, Ashleigh Gardere, President of PolicyLink. Both of y'all spent your lifetimes fighting to uphold these words that we figured out how to read: liberty and justice for all. Welcome to your show, In the Making. And thank you for letting me be a part of it with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
What's good?
Everything. Everything.
I would love to start with you, Ashley, because you're already talking. You have a great smile. And I know that people are feeling a lot of feels right now. It's a hard time. We got active duty military in our cities. So I want us to acknowledge that and cast a vision forward. What is your image of a democracy that's actually working?
First, I want to start with what you said. It's heavy. And I think it's important to grieve. It's never helpful to just run past the hurt and the pain and get busy working on the thing without having grieving. I've learned that. I'm from New Orleans, right? Wow. And so my whole career really started from a place of loss. And so I never want to rush past the importance of grief.
When you say your whole career started from a place of loss, what is that? What are you referring to there?
Hurricane Katrina. As soon as I finished grad school with my shiny degrees and got back home, Hurricane Katrina really devastated New Orleans, and losing every single system that is essential: healthcare, education, the criminal justice system, all of those things. We were an American city who had to start over.
Sounds like a place where everybody's got enough.
Yes.
Yeah. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, brother.
What's good?
Not much right now.
Not much. See, that's the real talk we here for.
Not much right now.
I would love to start with the grieving and this moment of pain and of taking that we're in and sort of flexing of power against as opposed to with the people. How do you feel in this moment? How are you feeling in this moment?
I feel angered and hurt. I don't understand why we have to spend our life trying to get to a place of power and influence only to use it to crush people who've done nothing to us. I hear the stories of my grandparents getting ran out of Mississippi with this type of behavior. That's why they settled in Sykeston, Missouri, and then Benton Harbor, Michigan. And I watched my dad cower to authority in order to protect us as he would drive to Mississippi with the pistol tucked under the seat. And I said I would never do that. So I'm in that stage now where, I'm deeply hurt and I'm deeply angered. But I'm also abundantly blessed to be able to have a place like PolicyLink where we can actually do founding work in this moment. It's actually the moment I've been living for. And so while I'm angered and hurt, I can hold all of that because we've always had to hold it. And I can hold the richness of being blessed in this moment to do the work. We're going to do the work together till we take our last breath.
Thank you for using the word anger. I think we got to give ourselves collective permission to grieve and to be angry. And it's just a series of ands, right? And to envision and imagine and plan for what comes next and not just get stuck in what is for the moment. I'd love to get your take on a vision, what comes to mind as an image for democracy that works for all. What's included in that picture?
First, it's peace and joy. We've never had that. Our nervous systems have always been dysregulated in this nation. I would just for once like to have that. Yesterday, I was talking to someone, and they were telling me about their young boys. I was like, wow, you still have to tell your young boys how to survive in this world in order not to be killed. How tragic. Then I was thinking about my grandsons. We're going to have to do the same thing. So the first thing I would hope is that we would have peace and joy. But that comes from the design of the nation, not just the hopes and aspirations of it. And so that I hope to the things that Ashleigh was saying, that, the basic needs of Americans can be met. And so I want peace and joy, and I want a soul of a nation that doesn't have to be harmful. A soul of a nation that actually can demonstrate the capacity to actually love everyone in this nation.
I cited my mother in the beginning of this series, who invoked a sense of mission in me and helped set me on a path. I'd love to know how you came from an early age to start devoting yourself to this kind of work of an inclusive democracy.
I came from watching my parents. They were community builders. Not in the way we do it now in the nonprofit, but they fed folks out of their garden. I grew up fishing and hunting with my dad. And so,
where was this?
Kansas City, Missouri. Okay. And then going to Mississippi in the summers to play in the red dirt. And so I'd go watch him talk to farmers, and they let us use their land, and watch him sit there in the evening after we done fished or hunted and crack open a beer with them, folks who were radically different. We all had similar stories, similar aspirations, similar hopes and dreams. And so I carry that with me, my mom and my father. And what they did, they had I had a lot of foster brothers and sisters growing up as well. So I got to really see what it meant to share, to love someone who's not your own child, but you love them as your own. My younger sister is adopted. So I had a ringside seat to this, outside of my uncles. Almost every uncle I got is a fire and brimstone preacher, and so that's the world that I come from.
How about you, Ashleigh?
I'm gonna pick up on the preacher like that. So my parents are not from New Orleans. They met at Howard. My dad fought in Vietnam. After the war, my mother was clear she did not want to be an Army wife. And so he took a civilian post in New Orleans. That's how we got there. And one of the first decisions that they made was to join a Black Baptist church that was really family oriented. And so I learned this love beyond your biological family, like that we get to create community and choose family. Well, when I was 8, we had a church business meeting.
A church business meeting.
And it was contentious. And that was Friday night. By Sunday morning, the locks were changed.
On the church?
The church, yes, on the church. And so we were locked out.
Whoa.
Of church. And we decided...
Sounds like the Texas legislature.
So we decided to have church on the empty lot next door. And first of all, that choice, like to choose power and agency, and that we get to decide our destiny, was really powerful. And I'm 8, so I remember being afraid, like, oh Lord, the grown-ups is cutting up, right? But after that decision to exercise agency, folks decided, well, we'll create a new church. And I remember the conversations we would have in a college auditorium, in a sanctuary that somebody was letting us use on a weekday. But the questions were, well, what kind of congregation would we want to be? What would be the values that we want to be rooted in? How do we want to show up? What's the contribution and the impact we would want to have in our city? Yeah. And at 8 years old, I was a co-founder of a community institution. And I think that has everything to do with every other crisis that has come in my life, whether it was September 11th or Hurricane Katrina. But this idea that from an early age, even inside of existential crises, when folks are cutting up and you don't know why, when you are literally being pushed out, locked out, when what you thought was so certain is now absolutely uncertain, that we get to decide, we get to choose, and what we build can be far better than we ever would have imagined or ever would have chosen to build if on our own terms.
I love it, and that's not a mocking clap. That is an appreciative clap because it is so unsubtly relevant to the moment. It's like, wait, so you were locked out of an institution of power that you thought you had access to, and you just set up a new center of power next to the old one. And that loss and creation to witness and be a part of that as a child, that's really powerful. Because that's the national situation that we're in. Well done, 8-year-old Ashleigh. And the grown-ups, credit to the grown-ups who modeled a different way and who wanted to listen to a child and not just be like, it's grown folks' business. That's some deep democracy. That's like an intergenerational invitation to have a little bit of power for yourself. We know that there's low trust in our government. There has been for a long time. Congress's approval ratings are just below that of bacteria, and the White House not much better. State houses, like it's all pretty aligned in a negative fashion. What do you attribute some of that low trust to? And I'm not just talking about the present era of the past year or so. We're in a trend of low trust in government. Where do you see that coming from? What's the research showing?
And I wouldn't even say it's just government. I think it's all of our institutions, right? We've forgotten who we serve. We serve ourselves. Think about the cruelness of every election cycle, getting people's hopes and dreams up. Change, fight. But you never fight for me. And it really doesn't matter what party. You're not fighting for me. You can't have 85 million plus people in this country struggling to make ends meet and think that there is not going to be a problem.
Do you have anything you want to add on the low trust environment that we're in?
It's delivery. It is hard to believe liberty and justice for all, or even our equity definition, right? Just and fair inclusion into a society in which all people can participate, prosper, and reach their full potential. And I don't have what I need. The education system failed me. So I have the most basic job times 3, right? I can't show up for my kids, except now, here are my kids in a school system that also won't provide for them, that they won't have what they need to thrive, that they won't, like, same was true for my grandma. Like, at some point, the words can't be true. It can't be true. If every generation I've ever seen, for me, my cousins, my best friend, the people at church, if we're all still stuck generation after generation, then the promise of all is a lie. You don't have trust when there are lies, right?
We've been talking about this low trust that we have, which creates an opportunity, at least, to recreate trust, repair institutions or build new ones. What gives you hope that we can? That we can actually redesign how this nation works so it does serve all? Why do you think that's possible?
My hope comes from the fact that we're doing it. What I love about the blessing of working at PolicyLink and the partnership that I get to have with Michael is that we will say impossible things and dream impossible dreams. But the other thing we will do is then start working and not just working on our own and by ourselves, but like finding those other folks who are like, yeah, we can redesign the nation and we do want it to work for all. And okay, so y'all gonna be looking at the laws and working on the laws. Okay, well then, what if I start organizing the people? What if I start hosting meetings? Okay, well, if you're hosting meetings, well then, what if I start thinking about the messaging? What's the words we're gonna use to inspire people so that they'll come to the meeting so that then they can work on the laws, right? Yeah. But just in the doing, right? And see, there's nothing more beautiful than watching people, groups of people who have decided, like, you know what, we can do this. And I'm not afraid anymore because we're doing it together.
We've never had a more expansive multiracial coalition that wants something different. We may have lost in this election, but that multiracial coalition is still there. That's significant. But what's even more significant is that oppressed people have always saved nations. Yes. They've always saved nations. And that's what we're going to do. You know, our parents didn't pay the price for us to go get all these fancy degrees to just have a job. We should be nation builders. And we should be founders of a nation yet to be born. Sometimes when you say nation building and founding, they have actually bad connotations to them, as they should. But they don't have to. They can embody all the things that we've been talking about. And that's what our jobs are. That's our generational work, to do that, right? And the beauty is, because our elders paid the price, we don't have to ask permission for it, right? Stop us. We don't have to ask for permission. You know, folks who want a very different America never ask me what I think about it.
It's the truth.
They tell me, I respect them. They tell me what they think of me. They tell me what they're gonna do to me, and they go and do it. That's results-driven leadership. Whether you like it or not, it is results-driven leadership, right? And the beauty is, we own our power. There is no more work to do but this work. We may not predict that outcome. But what we will be able to say is we answered the call. And that is an amazing place to be in. So I'm going back to what my elders showed me. I don't have to ask permission to do this. And to be able to do it when you know that your head and your heart is in the right place around designing for all, that is actually the innovation. And so we've made the choice. We're going to do this work. We've got a beautiful multiracial coalition that wants something different. And now we need leaders who will build institutions that will do that, will do that work. And that's what's needed now more than ever. Leaders who will build up institutions that can serve everybody and care about the design work that has to be done. If we can get that critical mass of institutions to meet that multiracial coalition, we have a fighting chance.
Well, I feel a little more hopeful. Thank you. My own comes from a little bit of a negative place, and it's building off something you just said, Michael. America has constantly been redesigned against us. There is a redesign against life that happened at the beginning when they said we could own people, right? That is not an original natural design, right? That's a redesign. And somebody made up some stuff and had some ideas and wrote it down and propagandized it, called a bunch of meetings, changed a bunch of laws, and here we sit. What has happened with the Second Amendment was a redesign. They have very extreme interpretation of the right to bear arms beyond any organized militia. That was like a 1950s thing, 60s, 70s, the way we've handled abortion access. Pretty recent redesigns. Whether we succeed on the micro, I don't know. Macro, I think we will. And certainly we don't need to be asking permission to do it. So don't feel a certain way about that. Pep talk from Coach Thurston.
Put me in, Coach.
Put me in, Coach. That's the energy.
Yes.
That's the energy. People want something to do.
Yes.
Amidst the fear, amidst the opportunity, the overwhelming opportunity we're facing right now.
Yes.
We are overwhelmed by opportunity. So Indigenous elders I've been spending some time with, that's how they talk.
Yeah.
They're from Pine Ridge in Oglala Lakota land in the Dakotas. And that is a very, very impoverished by design place. And they say, with good cheer, we are overwhelmed by opportunity.
Yes.
There is such an ambition to redesign the nation. And I feel called to be cautious with the language because some people, a national identity is a very personal thing. And we know that when people's identity is threatened, they get really defensive and they start voting for dictators, right? It's just happening. I'm not even talking about our nation. I'm just saying, broadly speaking, it's an historical pattern that when you come at people's identity, they get really defensive. They may lose sight of a certain interest of theirs and they prioritize belonging and identity. So somebody out here telling them this is who you are, it can go sideways really quickly. So we're in this identity moment for the country. I think what gives me a really deep hope is what was here before. Before any white people showed up, before any black people were dragged here, there were indigenous people here, and they were practicing democracy. The Haudenosaunee Confederacy is a set of 6 nations, started as 5, but they had a form of democracy that was built on interdependent principles. And our founders interacted with them. And it's been beautifully humbling to be like, oh, so the actual origins of our democracy come out of a set of relationships that existed for hundreds of years between nations who were here and the nation yet to be born. And part of this work for me is let's remember that, let's uncover that, and that natural base of our interdependence is a really important principle that I know you are all also committed to. How does the idea of interdependence weave in to how you're approaching this work and the for all and being founders?
So at least for me, what the word means is that you can win and I can win too. And then we're going to support each other while we winning, right? We had, Michael talks a lot about stepping into leadership. When you shifted into leading Policy Link, and it was okay, so now can we just work for the Black people and the brown people? Is it time, right? And really having to have a difficult set of conversations, which are ongoing, I think, across lots of institutions, right? About I'm for Black liberation. Well, you do know that Black liberation ain't gonna come till everybody's liberated. Right?
And everybody's not gonna get liberated until Black people are.
Yes, it's all interdependence, right? And so I think there's a part of this journey that requires us to have that conversation, with our own people, our own family, and then with each other.
And this is why we need to see ourselves as founders of a new nation. Because you're not going to get to interdependence, a consciousness of interdependence, a consciousness of all, when you've been socialized the way we've been socialized.
That shift from to, we're a nation built on a declaration of independence and furthering a separation. Oh, we're not British anymore. Yay! But who are we now?
That's right.
And can we balance the indie, the from, to with, to the inter? And that's going to require more than good words. It's going to require, working with young folk and shifting culture to highlight the benefits of that and I think the naturalness of it. So I'm really curious how you think about who needs to come on board to make this vision real, to be a part of this redesign. Is it literally every American has got to take out that pen and start rewiring and rewriting and expanding on the foundation we have? Is it a real smart group of people with some degrees need to do that? I think that's what already happened before that we might be trying to make some adjustments around. But I want to get into, the allness of it.
We often debate this internally. I believe that if you are privileged to be in a position to do the work, you do the work. And you create a space that others can live into in their own time.
Yeah.
Stop asking people who are resource poor, whether it's time or money, to do our damn jobs. We should do that in service of the folks who don't have the time that we have. But there's too many of us out here who got jobs. There's too many of us with student loan debt. We should use our brains, right? My mama ain't never gonna care about what the Constitution says. She ain't going to no meetings. But she'll vote. She'll carry messages of all in her own way.
Yeah.
You see my point?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. Let's stop asking folks to do so much more than we will ever do. And we're so privileged. I'm so tired of people standing on the backs of poor people and just exhausting them. They're already exhausted trying to survive.
Right.
And this fantasy of somehow they should do what the nonprofit sector, the government sector, and business sector should be doing is appalling to me.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I just want us to create the conditions, just like culture. It takes a few people to start the culture. If you show up, great. If you don't, great. That's why I said it's the right thing to win on or fail on. Yeah. In this season, we're going to probably be in the wilderness for a while. Yeah. Folks ain't down with the all fully. And there's a valid reason for that. Think about how much hurt you got to get over to get with the all. I feel it right now in my body, just talking about it. The very folks who treat me like shit, I have to work in service of their thriving right now. I still got to see their humanity. That's a lot to overcome. And then say, I'm going to still design for that and not punish it.
And this is why we have this as an ongoing conversation. Because in 2025, right, different from 1776, 1787, it doesn't just have to be a couple handful of guys held up in a room, fussing, cussing, and splitting wigs. It doesn't have to be that, right? And so I agree with Michael that if we have been blessed with the resources, the skills, the talent, we ought to be putting it up first. And I do want to know what folks in Nevada, folks in Ohio, folks in Appalachia, like I actually want to know that what I'm offering is a reflection of what they asked for. There is a middle about really recognizing we don't have to wait. It will never be convenient. It will never be the right time. And everyone will not agree. That's because it's democracy, right? And there's a way for us to balance the blessed seats that we're in with the opening up of an invitation to folks to participate.
Go ahead, man.
I was going to say, and see, this is where the trust thing comes in. People have spoken. You go pull all the polling data, all the evidence you want. We get fancy. Folks are still on housing, water, jobs, safety, education. You see them? They healthcare. They still there. We trying to get fancy. What else they gonna say? And to our point about delivery earlier, until we deliver that, why would they believe that we're gonna do something around nation building?
The last time you came, I told you my bus wasn't on time. You bet. The bus is still not on time.
And that's the conundrum that we got to lead through right now.
But in order to get the bus to show up on time requires a level of investment. And in order to unlock that investment requires some policy shifts. And in order to get those policy shifts requires some redesign to create a new approach to power that involves more to people to have their needs met. My take on it, part of what I'm hearing, but also what I feel is, yes, it is a unfair burden to ask, for example, Black women, save us again, right? Poor people, it's up to you to rise up. It's like, I don't got time to rise up. I'm on my third job today. So I get that. But how do we design political participation that doesn't require you to go to a planning meeting?
Redesign.
Exactly. And so there's a redesign of process to be able to poll differently, to solicit input differently, to find out what else we have in common between the folks in Nevada and the folks in New Orleans. And then this point about the humanity. Woo! There's a lot of king in what we're talking about here. There is a lot of he was told and the movement at the time was told, not yet. You're asking for too much freedom. Freedom is, we dole it out and we microdose freedom around here.
Next Wednesday.
Don't you go trying to take a whole puff. You're not gonna handle this freedom, Black people. You're gonna lose your minds. Your minds aren't built for freedom. You just take a little tab, just a little tick, at our discretion. That's what they said to him and to the leaders of the time.
Yes.
And no, we demand freedom and justice now. That's been part 1 of In the Making. I want to thank Michael and Ashleigh for joining me, the whole Policy Link team, and please stay tuned for episode 2, where we get into what it really means to take on a founder stance.